What's going on, everybody? It's Tyler with Tyler Talks Travel Trailers, and today we are going to be doing a tour a little bit different than my long form tours. Have you ever gone to an RV dealership and you're kind of confused? You're like, I'm looking at the same layout, but one is more than the other. Also, what is the difference between a traditional stick and tin build versus the smooth sided, also known as fiberglass, and the aluminum framed? There are some small details and features and options, also build quality, and there's benefits to both. There's pros and cons to fiberglass. There's pros and cons to the aluminum metal siding. So that's what I want to talk about today. It's going to be raw, unedited. So if I start stuttering and I start messing up, go easy on me. But what we're going to do today is actually look at two of the same exact layouts, but different brands. One's going to be a Catalina, which isn't an entry-level trailer by any means, but it is a nice starting trailer on our lot. Then we're going to work our way up to a Flagstaff, which is, of course, more of a premium trailer. We're going to start with the Catalina, and I'm going to kind of point out things that are going to be different from the Catalina to the Flagstaff. So when you go out looking at RVs at an RV lot or a dealership, you're going to know what to look for, what to pick out, what you might want. If you camp in cold weather, you might want some of the features and options that a Flagstaff has. So let's jump on the golf cart real quick. This is almost going to be like my lives every Sunday. Every Sunday I go live 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we just hang out with the subscribers. The cool thing is you can ask questions on the live. This is going to be a little different, but we aren't going to edit any of this, and we're going to challenge myself. This gets kind of hard, trying to say everything, freestyling it. So let's go to the Catalina 221 MKLE. If you want to know where I'm located, I am located in Albuquerque, New Mexico at Albuquerque RV. We are a locally owned dealership, and we have a lot of great brands. So let me turn you around real quick. So we are on the row of Catalinas, and we are going to start with this one right over here. Usually I usually go super in depth. I even measure every single thing out on the interior. I tell you all the specs, everything. So this is a lot different than my normal form tour. So I'm just going to be giving you the dry weight, GVWR, and the length. So your length on this Catalina 221 MKLE, you're looking at 5,341 pounds dry. Your cargo carrying capacity is 2,265 pounds, which brings your potential fully loaded weight to 7,606 pounds. Did I say the length? The length is going to be 25 feet, 11 inches. So let's go inside. Ooh, there's a bug on my screen. These are both going to be couples coaches. And they're going to be the same length. So let's plug this in so that way you guys can see the lights on. And right off the bat, I see a lot of things just on the tongue that's going to be a little bit different. So you are getting 20-pound propane tanks on this. They go up to 30-pound. You also have, a manual crank versus an electric. All these things you got to think if it's important to you. But we'll start with the inside, and we'll work our way out, and I'll point some stuff out. I'll also tell you the benefits of the aluminum siding and how these walls are made once we come outside. But same exact layout. Nice couples coach. I always like being under that 30-foot mark because you're going to have no issues at the national parks. Usually at 30 feet, they do tend to get a little picky. So you'll notice on the next one we go to, almost identical. It's just like this has like the freestanding chairs. So on this particular floor plan, you cannot sleep an extra guest, but it's going to be the same style as this particular trailer. Has a big slide out. So this whole wall right here will slide out. You do have your theater seating that do recline and lean back. This particular unit will have one air conditioner. It is ducted. All of your appliances are going to be GE appliances in your Catalinas. Also, this does not have an oven. When we go up to the next trailer, you will notice that it will have an oven, a lot more features in the kitchen as well. This does not have solar on it. So if solar is important to you, add that to the list of things that you may want on your trailer, because when we go up to the next one, it's going to have everything. As you notice, small little details like your countertops, it's kind of like a wrapped material. That's going to change as we go to the next one as well. Even your cabinetry is going to be wrapped in this trailer. So when you're out looking at trailers, really look at the build of it, because that's going to affect the price as well. Even down to the hinges are going to be hidden on the next trailer. So if solid surface countertops are important to you, add that to your list. If you want real wood cabinetry, you know, it's going to change as we go up. This is going to be your more traditional wood frame trailer, meaning the roof, floor, front wall, back wall, both side walls are all going to be aluminum. If we look over here to the front of this trailer, you got a 60 by 74 queen size bed. Now I'm going to lift this up just so I can show you what the difference is going to be on the next trailer. You see that, how it's just wood, all wood framed right here, and even on the front right here, it's just that plywood right there. As we move up, that's going to change as well. This does not have an inverter, and I'll get into what that will do for you in the next trailer. Looks like your heater is not going to be ducted. It's still going to be plenty big in this size of unit. So pretty decent storage throughout. Storage kind of changes from the Flagstaff to this particular layout. And again, check out my other tours. If these two you like, I've done 45-minute tours on these, and they are extensive. I literally measure out every cabinet. Today, we're not really doing that. You do have a deep sink right here, undermount sink. It looks like it is going to be a plastic material. Faucet is metal. Decent storage up here as well. One difference from this one to the next one also is going to be the ceiling. So in this one, it's kind of hard to tell because of the lens, but on the next trailer, it will be rounded. So this is just a flat roof. When we go to the next one, you will see a vaulted ceiling. That is also another change. Your bathroom in here, all the way down to a porcelain toilet, is going to be different. So this is just your normal plastic toilet. Again, this is not a bad trailer at all. Like, your cabinetry is all still built extremely well. It's all glued and screwed. It's not stapled together, so when you open them, it doesn't make a funky boing noise. And pretty decent shower. And in the next trailer, I'm going to be talking about a lot of features and options. Like, this one is kind of little bit, has less stuff. If you're the weekend warrior, this is more than enough. They make really cheap trailers if price is important. We don't sell the cheapest trailers, but we don't sell cheaply made trailers either. So like I said, this isn't an entry-level trailer, but it's a nice one to start with. So one way to look at if it's wood framed, like I said, is if you lift that bed up. So if the sales guy doesn't know, just lift that up. But sometimes you can have an aluminum frame trailer and still have wood up here in the front. The Flagstaff that we're going to be looking at is very unique in that they aluminum frame everything. So there is your wardrobe. Another thing I want to point out over here, this is all going to make sense once we get to the next trailer, because you're probably like, what the heck? Why is he showing us this? So if we go to this and we lift this up, see that? It's just wood as well. So all of your dinettes are wood, as well as underneath your beds. But a nice seating arrangement. I actually like these freestanding chairs. You know, if someone's bigger in the family, you're kind of limited with just the booth. You can't really put the booth back any more than where it's at. So I do like the freestanding chairs. And overall, really nice layout. You do have a 3-burner cooktop. And like I said, it doesn't have the oven. Just remember all of the cabinetry, you know, the countertops. Couches are actually really nice in this. You got the Thomas Paine collection with the charging pad right here. You got cold snacks. You got cup holders for those cold snacks when you're kicking back. And it looks like your TV will be placed nicely right in front of this couch right here. Keep in mind, when you go out to look at RVs, they're always going to be 60 by 74. Not always. They'll either be 60 by 74 or it'll be a true queen, which is a 60 by 80. So this will be a 60 by 74 and the next one will be a 60 by 74. So if you wanted to, they do make RV mattresses that you can get. Because I mean, I always say it doesn't matter which trailer you go with. You could spend thousands and you could spend 150 grand and the mattress still might not be that comfortable. So you can go out and get yourself a mattress that will be an RV queen. Let's go outside and talk kind of about the construction of this aluminum siding and how it's built versus the next one. So one cool thing is it does have the solid steps that do come down to the ground, so it's a lot more sturdy. If you notice, these ones just kind of fall down. When we go up to the next trailer, there's going to be some differences with those steps. So if you're looking at a trailer, and let's say it looks like this, if you want to know if it's wood framed, it's very easy. Just open up this storage compartment that is locked. Way to go, Tyler. We'll come to this side. So if we come right here, it is wood framed. So see how it's all wood framed, and then you do have your aluminum siding on the outside. So the way they make these walls is it'll go the aluminum right here, then it'll go your wood framing and your batt insulation, and then your inner walls. The nice thing about, you know, the aluminum sided walls is if you damage one portion of it, see how it's kind of like in panels? You can actually replace one panel of the trailer. Whereas if it's a fiberglass trailer, you are going to have to replace the whole wall, which is probably going to be super expensive. Another a downside to the aluminum sided is they could potentially get hail damage. So if you get hail damage, you know, it has those dots all, like it looks like a golf ball. With the fiberglass, you're not going to have potential hail damage because of how solid this is. But on the flip side, you know, you do have potential of this fading pretty bad, especially, you know, in New Mexico and hotter places. We get brutal sun. You will get a little more fading on the fiberglass versus your aluminum sided. Another downside is, so there's a lot of cheap ways to make fiberglass trailers, and we will get into that on the next trailer. The nice thing about the aluminum sided trailer is it's not a laminated wall. So it's a hung wall, just like a house. You probably hear delamination a lot in the RV world. Delamination is when those walls start to get wavy and bubble, like they literally start to separate. And that's an indication that potentially water has gotten in, or the walls are just literally separating. Laminated walls, since it's called a laminated wall, you have delamination. With these types of walls, you don't have to worry about delamination. So like I said, there's pros and cons to both. As we walk around this thing, I do notice it doesn't have, you know, your electric jacks. It's going to be your manual jacks. That will change as we go up. It looks like it is a rack and pinion slide system. All your windows are tinted on both trailers. You got a nice big awning with the LED lights and outdoor speakers. Now, one important thing to consider when you're out looking at trailers is, do you want a 4-season or extended season trailer? If we look underneath, all of your tanks are exposed, as well as this is a leaf spring axle versus your torsion axle that we'll discuss later. So it is a normal leaf spring axle. If we come back here, it is, see, there's your tanks right there. So when your tanks are exposed like that, if you camp in cold weather, you do have the potential of freezing them. And when we go up to the next trailer, you'll see a difference in that as well. So if camping in cold weather is important to you, definitely put that on the list, and we will move on. So a leaf spring axle right there. Even down to your tires, when we get up to the next trailer, you'll see a big difference in your tires and wheels. But overall, really nice trailer. I like this floor plan. Let's move on to the next one, which is going to be a Flagstaff. One of the best brands on the lot, in my opinion. All right, let's unplug this. You will need a 7-way plug when you are towing a trailer. So if you just have the 4 flat, that's for cargo trailers. If you just have the 4 flat, though, the dealership can always add a 7-way if you wanted, or if you need that. Moving on to a Flagstaff Microlite 25 FBDS or FBS. Man, I am off today. I'm feeling a little under the weather, so be easy with me, guys. Let's see, it is right here. Turn you guys around. Oh, not that one. Next one. Next one. Next one. All right, we are at the 2026 Flagstaff Microlite 25 FBD. This is going to be 25 feet 9 inches. Cargo carrying capacity is 1,891 pounds, which brings your fully loaded weight to 7,685 pounds. 25 feet 9 inches, so just an inch shorter than the last trailer. Let's plug this bad boy in real quick. Yeah, I've been feeling a little under the weather the last like week, so if I sound off, that is why. So now as we come up to this one, you're seeing differences already right here on the front of the tongue. You got your electric jack. So, and then you do also have 30-pound propane tanks instead of 20, as well as the cover for it. You also got dual battery box where you can put your batteries, and ooh, you even got the fancy docking lights. So this is a big step up from what we were just looking at. So we were just at your more traditional stick and tin build, and now we are at a fiberglass trailer, which is, obviously you could tell because it's nice and smooth, but there's a lot of different ways that they make fiberglass trailers than, you know, the traditional stick and tin. They tend to make those very similar. But if you look underneath, see how it's all aluminum framed under there, whereas last time it was wood. So this is 6-side aluminum frame, meaning the roof, floor, front wall, back wall, both side walls are all aluminum. This brand goes even further, and I will show you why and how they do it. Even on the last trailer, you know, this is a one-piece glass, so there is no gasket like the other one was framed. So you don't have to worry about that getting brittle on you with sun hitting it and all that good stuff. So sometimes there will be verbiage on the outside saying 6-side aluminum frame. Just make sure you ask the sales guy, because they will say it's aluminum framed and then it's mixed with wood. So 25 FBD. Let's go inside. This will have 2 slides, but one of them's really small. This is one of my favorite layouts. If you like the open floor concept, you know, you don't want a dividing wall right here. You can, some people get a little claustrophobic, so this is a little nicer if you get claustrophobic just because of a dividing wall. 25 feet 9 inches. They do make floor plans that are this length with the dividing wall if you still wanted that. But look at the difference. You could probably see the difference even though you're not like in it. So on the front, you do have your 60 by 74 queen size bed. Like I said, you can get a mattress. It's pretty easy. They do make the RV mattresses. But remember when I showed you on the last trailer, look at that. See? All aluminum frame. So that is a big difference going from, you know, a Catalina, more traditional build. You're getting that aluminum framing. It's going to be a little lighter, maybe a little more stronger, especially up here on the front of the bed. You know, if you go to put your shoes on, you're not going to have to worry about cracking that. Another cool thing about this trailer is even your dinette. Remember when I lifted up the dinette in the Catalina? If we come right here, it's kind of hard to see it, but see that shininess right in there? This whole dinette is aluminum framed as well. They even have a sticker. So the construction really improves when you get up to like a Flagstaff, a Rockwood. All of your countertops throughout, like I showed you on the last one, they were wrapped. This is all solid surface countertops. Much bigger TV comes in it. The last one didn't even come with a TV, so that's pretty neat. And it goes down into the countertop with a massive window on the campsite. So if you don't want that TV up, you could put it down and then see out. The last one had a slide that kind of stepped up. This one does not. It's still a rack and pinion slide system, but it's nice and flush with the floor. This one over here will be a Schwintek slide, and you do have lots of storage. So this is your wardrobe. So when it's a slide out, it does give you a lot of extra storage in there. It's just a little deeper, but what it'll do is it'll come right to the bed right here. You got some nice end tables on both sides, nightstands, I guess you could say. Now this will have solar. So now, you know, if solar is important to you, you might want to put that on your list. It does have 200 watts of solar and an 1800 watt inverter. What's cool about the inverter is a lot of your plugs will actually be ready to go. You don't need to be plugged into shore power or a generator to use them. So like the plugs on the sides of the bed, they have a little sticker on them that actually say inverter circuit. It's kind of hard to tell, it's to the right. But if you're out looking at trailers and you want to know, it'll say inverter circuit, and then you'll know that it is tied into the inverter, so they'll work without being plugged into a generator. You are moving up to 2 15,000 BTU air conditioners that are ducted throughout. If you noticed on the last trailer, the heater was not ducted. It was blowing straight from the heater. This one is ducted, so all of your vents are on the side walls. One cool thing is this trailer can handle cold weather. So like I said, there's no right or wrong trailer. It's just how you're going to use it, when you're going to use it, what kind of temperature you're going to try to be in. And then like I said, it does have that vaulted ceiling up top. It's kind of hard to tell on video. You are getting that rounded ceiling in this. You got the nice puck lighting, so it's nice and flush with the roof right there. Probably the biggest things that I think are huge about the construction on these Flagstaffs is all of your cabinetry is real wood. So as you notice, like on the last trailer I showed you, they were kind of like some sort of wrap material. This is all real wood. Like I said, you got hidden hinges. You got the magnets. Also, your countertops are going to be solid surface, 6-side aluminum framing. And when we go outside to look at the fiberglass, I will explain how they build these trailers, because there's two ways that they make fiberglass, two main ways that they make fiberglass trailers, and one way is a little bit cheaper. As you notice in here in the kitchen, you do got your oven and your 3-burner cooktop, whereas on the other one you did not get the oven. So if an oven's important to you, bam, you do have the oven. Also, all of your appliances in the Flagstaffs will be Magic Chef. So you got Magic Chef fridge, stovetop oven, and your microwave. This does have a 10 cubic foot 12 volt refrigerator. That one was 8 cubic foot, but it was gas electric. I like 12 volts just because they cool extremely fast. I'm talking like 10-15 minutes these things get cold. And then you do have your freezer down below. Again, if you like this layout, just go to Tyler Talks Travel Trailers and type in 2026 Flagstaff Microlite 25 FBS, right? Is that what it is? Why am I drawing a blank? Oh man, it's an off day for me today. But yeah, if you guys want to come on the live every Sunday, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, it's a lot of fun because then you can also ask me questions while we tour these units. Here's the bathroom. You got that fancy dancy underglow. Got that race car underglow on the sink right there. Porcelain toilet. So last one was plastic. The bathroom countertops will be like a wrapped material, but this is a very nice bathroom. Very similar to the last one. You guys can tell now, you know, it's identical, just some small things like the dinette. As you can see, you are getting a solid enclosure. So that shower curtain ain't gonna stick to your butt when you're showering. I do hear people complain about the shower curtain sticking to you when you are in the shower. One cool feature this does have is your shower miser. So the other one obviously didn't have this. This is to conserve water. So when you go to wash off, first thing you do is stick your hand out waiting for that water to get hot. Well, if you're dry camping, you are wasting all of that water. With this, all you got to do is flip this bad boy down. It'll circulate through the lines. This will turn a grayish color so you know it's hot. Then you flip it up, it'll spit the water out. So really nice feature. Whoa, okay. Decent storage in here. Got some linen storage. Of course, it's got the big fart fan. I didn't mention that. On the Catalina, they do give you kind of that little rinky-dink one. So you are going to get the max air vent, porcelain toilet, as well as your shower miser. Pretty nice. So one thing I do like about this layout is travel mode is very nice in this unit. When the slide is in, you can still get to the bathroom. And like I said, I do show that in all of my tours. So if you like this one, definitely go check it out. Ooh, it's got a touch light. So that is the interior of this. I would say the biggest differences is your construction. You know, the real wood cabinetry, solid surface countertops, Magic Chef appliances throughout with an oven. One cool thing too is that Flagstaff, instead of using aluminum to hang their cabinetry, a lot of companies will use a thin sheet of aluminum behind their cabinetry. Flagstaff actually uses galvanized steel. So you can imagine which one's going to be stronger. And that's why I love Flagstaff so much. When you're out looking at trailers, sometimes it's not the things you can see that are really helping the construction. So if a trailer looks cheap out there, imagine where you can't see. It's probably very cheap. The nice thing about this layout is it does have the dinette that converts to a bed. So this one will actually come down so you can sleep the occasional guests. You even have plugs on both sides, just like this. So you got your plug towers, and then it is a charging pad on top as well. So this is a really nice feature right here. The last one, as you saw, did not have an enclosed underbelly. It could be added, but there still wouldn't be like a heater vent going under or anything. This actually has tank heaters. So see that right there? That is for your tanks. And there's really, let me turn you around real quick so you can make fun of me while I'm explaining this. So there is two ways that you can really, well, there's three, but I don't really count radiant heat. There is two ways that I like that you can heat an underbelly if you like to camp in cold weather. You can have an enclosed underbelly and a duct blowing hot air down to the tanks, or you can have, you know, the 12-volt heat pads still heated in an enclosed underbelly. This has the 12-volt heat pads. If I was looking at a travel trailer and I camped in cold weather, I would have to go with the 12-volt heat pads for two reasons. The main reason is if you're going, you know, in Albuquerque it does get cold, but like if you go up into the mountains, maybe I'm going to go snowboarding or something, and you have your tanks filled, you can't go down the road with your heater running, you know? So when you get to the freezing temps, you have to be very careful because you could freeze and crack your tanks. With the 12-volt heat pads, just turn those bad boys on, hit the road, and you don't have to worry about anything. Your tanks are going to stay at a temperature where they will not freeze. The cool thing about Flagstaff 12-volt heat pads is they're actually smart heat pads, so they go on automatically and off when you're above freezing temps. So really nice feature. I like that method more than just the heated duct going underneath. The other thing is like, let's say I'm out, you know, snowboarding. Do I want to have to keep my heater running the whole day I'm not in it? I know I wouldn't, because propane is expensive. So being able to turn on the 12-volt heat pads, you can have those go on all day, and because they're 12 volts and this has solar, it's going to constantly keep those batteries recharged, and then you're not wasting propane. Then when you get back from your long day, you could kick that heater on and you are good to go. So really like that feature as well. Turn you around real quick. Bam! And that is a smart TV as well. So if TV is important to you, make sure it has a 12-volt plug, because not all TVs can run without being plugged into a generator or shore power. So this will run without being plugged into generator or shore power. So moving on, I do like the two air conditioners. Let's talk about the construction of a fiberglass trailer. So there's kind of some different ways they can make fiberglass trailers. There's two ways that they actually make the walls. Is they compress it together mainly, but they use pinch and roll, and then they use vacuum bonding. So this is one of those small little details that you should ask the sales guy, because maybe that's important to you. Pinch and roll is just a method where they have these big rollers and they roll all of the wall innards and everything through a press, and that's what compresses it. Vacuum bonding is where they actually have a high pressure vacuum. I don't know the pressure or anything like that, but they pull all the air out of the walls. So there's literally no pockets of air that are potentially in the walls. So that is going to very greatly help the potential of delamination. And if you don't know what delamination is, it's when the walls start to look wavy and bubbly. That means that the walls are literally separating. And it could mean that there is water damage in the walls. So if you want a better method, go with the vacuum bonded versus the pinch and roll method. The other reason why I like vacuum bonded walls versus pinch and roll is because pinch and roll, you know, they probably have to replace those rollers after a certain number of jobs that it's done. What if your trailer is the last wall going through that roller? You know, it's not as consistent. The vacuum bonding is going to be much more consistent than the pinch and roll. So if that's important to you, keep an eye out for that. And if you heard me say water damage, so the other way they make these walls when it's fiberglass is it'll go, let me turn you around real quick so you can make fun of me. So it'll go fiberglass, then it'll go either Luan, or it'll go Asdel or a composite material. Then it'll go your rigid block foam, and then your aluminum, and then your inner walls. Luan is just a thin sheet of wood that is behind the fiberglass. Well, what happens when wood gets wet? It starts to get moldy, it starts to deteriorate, and it literally starts to separate. That's why I told you when you see the bubbling in the walls, that's an indication that there is water in the walls, and now all that wood and everything is separating and delaminating. If you have the composite material, it is impervious to water, as they say. So it's a waterproof material, a very nice barrier versus Luon. The cool thing about Flagstaff is they double layer that composite material. See how you see it here and there? Not all companies do that, but Flagstaff does double layer that composite wall. Because remember when I said, you know, hung walls like the one we were just looking at are very nice because you don't have to worry about delamination. Well, this is the type of fiberglass trailer you want if you are concerned about that, because it has the double layered composite walls to help with delamination, and it's also a vacuum bonded wall, not pinch and roll method. So just keep that in mind if that's important to you. There is definitely differences in these fiberglass trailers. If we come down here, as you can see, all nice and enclosed underneath, and you do have your torsion axle. Remember how the last one was leaf spring? Huge step up. So you got to imagine how much is that going to help the frame of the trailer over the time of owning it. You hit a big pothole, that stress isn't going to go into the frame of the trailer. It's an automotive grade independent suspension. Also, you're getting a Goodyear endurance tire right off the lot, whereas the other one, I'm not sure what the brand was, but it's definitely not a Goodyear. So if that's important to you, then definitely, you know, put that on your list. If safety is important to you, there's a lot of safety features right here. So you got the torsion axle, you got the Goodyear endurance tire. They also give you a tire monitoring system. So you can see it right here. So you'll actually get a little screen in your vehicle and it'll alert you before your tires, you know, they're getting too hot, too low. It's a nice way to monitor your tires. Last thing you want is a blowout. They also have never adjust brakes by Dexter. The other ones, all the other trailers, unless they say it, you actually need to adjust your brakes after a certain number of miles. These self-adjust. So it definitely increases stopping, and versus the other ones, you do have to adjust, you know, your brakes. I've honestly never seen anyone really do it, but it's really cool that these ones self-adjust. So really great safety features. Goodyear endurance tire, never adjust brakes, torsion axle, and your tire monitoring system. Also, like on the other one, you did not get electric jacks. This one does. Check it out. So you got your electric jacks. If that's important to you, they are ready to go. And then there's your extended camping, season camping sticker right there. It does have a ladder on the back, whereas it gets down to that small of a detail. The last trailer did not have a ladder, just prepped. And then you do have your your receiver back here. If you do want to put a cargo rack on, you can. TPO commercial grade rubber, lifetime warranty on the roof. And that is your slide system. Really good storage too. I like the storage. So, quick little tour. I feel so wonky. I'm a little out of it. Hope I start feeling a little better soon. But I hope that gave you some insight. Just some small things. Come on, figure out what you're doing, dude. There you go. Small little things to consider when you're looking at RVs, you know, versus like a traditional stick and tin build. It's not bad at all. It's not a bad trailer at all. Versus your fiberglass trailer, you know, do you need the tank heaters to camp in cold weather? You know, do you want the aluminum framing because it's lighter? Do you want leaf spring axles, or do you want a torsion axle, which is going to help the frame of the trailer? All the way down to, you know, the small detail of the frameless windows. You also have the tank heaters. I did explain that. And then the Catalina, you do not. So I hope this was a little helpful. When you go out to look at RVs, definitely pick these things out and kind of look for them, because not all trailers are made the same. Just like I pointed out, there is cheap fiberglass trailers. So when you go out to buy a trailer, just because the price is really good on a fiberglass trailer, ask them these questions. Is it vacuum bonded or is it pinch and roll? Is it, do they use Luon behind the wall, or do they use a composite material? Ask those questions. That way you know what you're paying for. Like I said, there's no right or wrong trailer, but you definitely want to know what you're paying for. Again, every Sunday, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we do go live, which it's been a lot of fun. We're going on 17 weeks. So just like today, how we did the tour, imagine you could ask me questions. No one will see you, but you could type out questions. So this Sunday, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'll see you guys live. Also, you do save on sales tax. There's a little loophole in New Mexico that a lot of people don't know about, and obviously no other RV reviewer is going to tell you, because I'm the only one in New Mexico doing reviews. there is what's called the Sunshine Law, and you can actually get our sales tax, which is only 4% here in New Mexico, without having a physical address. And then it even goes further than that, but I'll put a link down below in the description to show you how you can save thousands on your 6th RV purchase or your first RV purchase. Just check out the link below, and if you're not, definitely hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.